You say, what if I go crazy? I say, that ain't gonna happen. You say, what if I get lost? I say, you'll just find your way back. And you say, what if someone breaks my heart? I'll put it back together like I do. You say, what if I don't catch the dreams that I'm out there chasing? What if when my fears show up, I'm too afraid to face them? Well, I can't fight your battles, but I sure can hold your hand and promise you that the sky will still be up there and the sun will always shine. The stars will keep on falling for the ones who wish at night. The mountains won't start moving and the rivers won't run dry. The world will always be there, and so will I. You say, what if things start changing? I say, we'll be changing with them. We'll just sing a different melody and dance a different rhythm. You say, what if I give up? I say, that's one thing that I'll never let you do. You say, what if someone leaves me and they leave me empty-handed? I say, losing only teaches you to not take things for granted. No, I can't just bring them back, but darling, I can hold your hand and promise you that the sky will still be up there and the sun will always shine. The stars will keep on falling for the ones who wish at night. The mountains won't start moving and the rivers won't run dry. The world will always be there, and so will I. So will I. Oh, and so will I. And so will even if the sky is falling and the sun don't want to shine, if the stars we used to wish on disappear into the night, well, I can move the mountain, but only by your side. Just say you'll always be there. I know you'll always be there, and so will I.
Welcome.
I was walking down 57th Street towards Park with the same old song in my same old heart.
Test, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Welcome, everybody. It's wonderful to see you here, family and friends, as we celebrate an amazing young lady, an amazing life. You've all been touched by Sharney and know her well, and we welcome you today. We prayed for fine weather, and not only is there no rain, there's not a cloud in the sky, which is beautiful. So thank you for joining us. Just a few announcements before we start. We're not officially starting yet, but just a few things to point out. My name is Mel. For those of you who don't know me, it's an honour to be your host today. Had a chance to visit Sharney a couple of weeks ago. Went down from Brisbane, and she asked if I would do this for her, and I said of course. We just didn't realise it would be so soon. Toilets. There are toilets just out this side. You'll see the notices. There are 2 toilets there. We'd ask if you reserve those for the ladies, please. And for us blokes, we get the demountable out the back. It is a clean demountable. The owners of the demountable have actually donated that demountable to us for the day when they found out what the event was. So that's pretty special. There is a coffee cart outside, and I know many of you love a good coffee. So the coffee cart is there. 20% of all money collected today from the coffee cart will be put to the project, the Restore One project that Sharney has asked us to contribute to. So that's pretty cool. So if you buy a coffee, not only are you getting a great coffee, you're supporting, helping to support a project dear to Sharney's heart. We'll say more about that project later in the morning, but Restore One is an organisation that works out of Cambodia or in Cambodia, and this project, what Sharney would love to happen is for this project to be a secret garden or a special garden that Restore One puts together with a quiet seats and quiet reading space and books, just as a place of retreat for the kids attached to Restore One orphanages and ministries. We're hoping to plant some sunflowers there and have some pretty cool things. So that's what your donations will go towards, whether you buy a cup of coffee or whether you get onto the Facebook page and donate through the link on the page. That would be much appreciated. The goal, Sharney's goal was, or our goal is $10,000. This morning I checked, I think we're already up to almost 7,000 before the day even starts. So we would love for every single one of you, instead of buying flowers, that was Sharney's request, instead of buying flowers, if you would donate to Restore One, and you can even do that now if you like. Check out the Facebook page and hit the link, and we'd love to celebrate getting over 10k before we leave today. That would be great. Fire safety, if there is a fire, the exits are the back and the side, and out this, there's a door out this way too. The meeting place in the case of emergency is the marquee. So if there is an evacuation needed, just head out one of the exits and straight down to the marquee, and we'll be good to go. Up the back, right at the back in that corner, is a journal that Sharney started, and the family have decided to use that as our memory journal for today. So if you've got just an expression of gratitude or something that you would love to say about Sharney, that's the place to do it. The journal at the back. There's different coloured pens. Make it colourful, make it bright, make it something that gives joy to the family as they read it. Beside the journal, there's also a big basket of Freddo frogs. I'll say more about that through the morning. Please don't just take a Freddo frog. There is a purpose for the Freddo frogs. Anyone who's in Stormco or been on Stormco will know what I'm talking about when we talk Freddo frogs. So we'll talk more about that later. But we'd love for every one of you to write in the journal at some point through the day, and also to take a Freddo frog, and we'll instruct you what to do with that. You can eat it. Better to give it away though. I'll say more towards the end. We've got some announcements about the food. Today is a very relaxed day. We want it to be a day where we come together in community, where we encourage and love on each other, where we remember an amazing, amazing young lady. Gateway have been incredible, Gateway Church, in providing all of the catering. It's taken all of that off the family. So Gateway, thank you very much. Avondale College has been fantastic. And huge gratitude to each one of you who have just poured love on the family. I met with them yesterday, and they're just overwhelmed with the love and support that they have received from you and from people all around the planet, literally. So thank you. You get to sit here and you get to be a part of today, but know that there are literally hundreds of people live streaming, and those of you who are live streaming, we welcome you this morning. Thank you for joining us. And please feel that you're a part of us, that you're here with us. That is very much our desire, and would be Sharney's desire as well. I think pretty much everyone is in, so we can probably make a start. So, Bill, I shall hand over to you. Introducing Dad. Give him a big hand.
I just used a hanky that Sharney gave me. She said, now that you're an old man, you need to use hankies, Dad. This is the last place I could have ever imagined having to be. This is a place where Sharney's been for happy spaces. There's so many pictures of her with fairy lights in the background and just chilling out here. And the smile that she had in those photos will last forever. So this morning, we're here to celebrate. Sharney had literally 3 things in her instructions about today. One of them was the word celebrate. Pastor Mel was another thing. And her friend's Lego. Where's Carly? They're to go to you. That's our Sharney, and we're here today to celebrate her. So we're going to pull on our happy pants. I'm glad I saw Graham Frauenfelder here this morning. He's the king of the happy pants. And it's okay to cry. And I learnt this week that when we mourn, we are comforted. So it's okay to mourn. And it's okay to laugh. And Sharney just wanted us to celebrate. So that's what we're going to do. All week I've been wanting to message her and say something to her, or ask her a question, or send her a question, send her a photo of something stupid that I'd seen. Yesterday we were with close friends and just chilling out. We were following this car, and it had on the back of it a sticker, and in big words it said bad puns. I thought, that's a Sharney thing. Drive up really close so I can take a photo. The fine print underneath it, that's how I roll, EYE. Even at Sharney's saddest and baddest days, she could roll her eyes at dad jokes. And I don't know who's going to take that mantle from her, because she was pretty good at the dad jokes. At the time Sharney was born, her family, mum and brother and I lived in New Guinea. And we came down here for Sharney's birth. David had rushed into the world 6 weeks early, and we didn't really want to take the risk with Sharney. And I think Sharney rushed into the world herself a couple of weeks early. Sharney was never late for anything. One of her most important values was being on time. We took a passport photo of this sweet little baby, and my sister's there with her grandson, little Billy. And Sharney was about that size. I put her on the ground on a white sheet and took a photo of her for a passport photo, so we could take her out of Australia to New Guinea back to her home. And that was special. Like, most people sit up for their photo. They don't start travelling until a lot later. Sharney loved all sorts of things. Sharney was really good at going to sleep. If we would take her for a drive in the car, she'd go to sleep. And in New Guinea, where we lived, it was a compound with an 11,000 volt electric fence to keep us safe. So we'd do laps on the inside of that compound and get her to sleep. Really worked well. The thing that woke her up really well was stopping. So she'd wake up. So we did lots of long conversations while Sharney slept in the back of the car, and then we had to go home as parents and somehow survive. That was a year. We then moved to Fiji. Sharney had these characteristics, Sharney and David, that made them stand out, especially when we went to little village stops that we loved doing with various friends, the Norman family and others. She had this sort of bright red hair that got the attention of people, and she stood out, and she was just such a happy child in that context. Real standout. When we lived in Cairns, Sharney loved camping with the Robinsons. There's this time we went camping. Kevy and I dropped the kids off and the mums, and we went back and had to work for a few days. This is how I remember these stories, okay? So if the facts aren't totally right, just roll with it. So they went camping, but we camped in this spot that had been untested, North Queensland. I don't know what month it was. It wasn't March, because March flies don't come out in March. But they were the March flies. The only way away from it, David, right, was to get in the water and basically stick your nose up and hide from it. So they spent this whole time hiding from March flies. Another time, we were camping sort of down on some plains. I can't remember it was, Lake Tinaroo or somewhere. Doesn't matter. 3 little kids, David, Sharney, Tylee and Colton, needed to go to the toilet. My turn to do the walk up the hill to the toilet. It's dark. Next minute, I've got 4 little kids hanging off me like I'm a tree, because there's this bandicoot running around, more scared than they were, but they thought I was the way out. And bandicoots, for everyone else, are bandicoots in our world. More camping with the Robinsons. Sydney 2000 Olympics. We set up a little village camping and a TV, and the only requirements for camping back then was a good tent and the TV and the plug into the post so that we could get the Olympics. And those kids were so patriotic about being Australian. Having lived overseas a bit, it sort of gave them an appreciation that they were really Aussies. Blake, I can see you up there, Blake. Blake had the longest name for Sharney, and I can't even get it quite right. I think it was Sharney, Barney, Farney, Carney, Harney, whatever alliteration he could carry on with, that was Sharney. And she had the best place in her heart for Blake. Later on, as a teacher, Sharney said, I want to be like Blake as a teacher. And her ukulele and dancing into the class and singing times tables or singing instructions with the ukulele as an instruction to her class, that was an inspiration from you, Blake. Sharney loved jigsaw puzzles. And she had this most amazing technique. In fact, very recently she got this horrible jigsaw puzzle, and it was all black and unique shapes. And Sharney had this systematic method of putting all the tiles on one side, picking up one, grabbing a tile, trying it in every spot, doesn't work, put it over, the next one. And she'd just do this systematically with every jigsaw. She had the most patience I've ever seen on a jigsaw. Walk her into a room, there's a jigsaw, that's where she goes. Probably fighting Uncle Dale off for it. Lego. She loved Lego. Lego was the ultimate peacemaker in our house. Get to the end of a term, David and Sharney getting a little bit unappreciative of each other. How about you get into the bedroom, guys, pull the Lego board from under the bed and spend some time on there until you guys can get on with each other. And then they'd get on with each other, and then they'd stay for hours. And the stuff they made was amazing. And we know right to the end, Sharney had a massive love for Lego. One of Sharney's favourite movies, and she's got many, and when you sign her book, you'll see in the front that she wrote a watch list of the Disney movies and the other movies she was going to watch and had started ticking off on. The one I love the most is Monsters, Inc. And I don't even remember the movie all that particularly, but Sharney hated going to bed with the door open because the monsters were in the cupboard. and you could only go to sleep if the door was shut. So, being the dad that I was, I'd often go into the room to do our nighttime routines. Dear God, help Sharney to have a great sleep. Help her to not have bad dreams or scaredness. And then she'd notice the door open. So my prayer wasn't good enough. I had to make sure the door was shut as well, just to keep those monsters in there. All these random things came into my mind when I was thinking about Sharney. Around at Granny and Poppy's place, there was this place, or near the Herman's place, there's a little culvert, and Sharney found this little dead fish. I don't know how it got there. And with one of her little school friends, she went and got this fish, found a few sticks, started dissecting the fish, had particular interest in the eyes for some particular reason. And I thought she was going to have a career in science or something like that. But dissecting the fish was just a peculiar little part of who Sharney was at that moment in time. This morning we want to invite some of Sharney's friends and people that have been significant in her life to help share her life story. Janine, I can't see you, but Janine's going to come up. Janine was a family friend right from early days. Janine produced Sharney's twin. And many, many good times.
I'm not sure I can hold paper and a microphone at the same time. Let me just do something dramatic. Okay. Just after midnight, December 12, 95, a ginger-haired baby took their very first breath. I named him Ethan. We were both unaware that across the Tasman, his twin was about to arrive at the very same time. Years later we met, and since then until now, the bond has been strong. And not just for the twins and their ginger red hair. We became neighbours. Playdates and parties, a passion for pets. Sharney was big sis for Ebony too. We lit up for each other. And people who light up when they see you are rare. As much as this means to me, all that is not why I'm up here right now. A celebration is a yes! How good was that? It's the clink of glasses, it's the sips of bubbly, it's balloons and streamers, glitter and cake. That's what Sharney wanted. Sharney has asked that we, who love her, swallow our sorrow for a second and smile. Look over her life and let out a cheer. And it's okay if the love leaks and pours from our eyes. Jesus wept. Let us feel what we feel, joy and pain. So let's take a look at the maxi praise phase. When Sharney stepped onto the stage like a star. I never auditioned a maxi praise kid. The talent to sing was a bonus, I thought. What was important and what Sharney had was heart, with a heavenly sweet voice to match her DNA. Only 8 years of age, she threw herself shyly into ministry and performing with the Maxi Praise kids at churches and schools, exhibitions and festivals, training at Mile Lakes and Special Friends Camp. Back then, it was not ecclesiastically accepted that children in ministry are more than a token. But this adult took risks and told them to go for it. Told them they could, cheered them on as they did, Sharney embodied her mission with passion, sharing her heart and singing with actions. Back when movement was frowned on, we took dance into church. She loved on our team. She hugged and she cared with her giftings of mercy, intercessory prayer. And the lights shining on them were never as blazing as the light shining from them, and Sharney shone bright. It wasn't till later, when the stage smoke had faded and the Maxi Praise kids had stepped down to grow up, that I saw how the light within Sharney revealed something more special, authentic, unique. A genuine, raw, unself-conscious praise, the kind that can only be kindled in fire. It challenged and humbled. And this is the praise that I'm here to shine light on. And I do want to cheer. Sharney, I love you. And I'm glad you were here. And I wish you still were. Because I cannot contain you in letters or black and white, cannot confine you to words on a page. The essence of you lives in snapshots and senses, in smiles and in lisps, sung in notes, danced and played. I cannot contain you at all, and I won't try. I want you to stay wild, wild, and free from constraint. I want you to live beyond when I die. And if kindness is the only thing that shall remain, then you will, for you were, above all else, kind.
Kind Sharney. Makes me think of a story. Sharney had a kindy buddy when she was in year 4. This kindy buddy was hopeless at riding her bike, and it was bike day. And Sharney ran behind her kindy buddy, Sage, as it turns out, and held that bike up when Sage wasn't able to. And it was amazing. She just followed her along. Sharney was a girl of strong faith and strong friends. I can remember this time. My friend Paula Latu from college. And thank you for being here for us, Paula, today. Sharney had this little friend when we moved into Kurrambong. She was so used to making friends because she'd moved around a fair bit up until the time we got here. And she was friends with anyone she knew, really. She had this special friend called Pepe. And somehow, somewhere, I can't remember the details, Pepe disappeared from her life and went to Sydney. And this one night, many months later, Sharney was distraught. Pepe said she was coming back. She's never coming back. And she was absolutely, this was a catastrophe. And how do we solve problems? We solve them practically, and we solve them with prayer. And she wanted to pray for Pepe to come back. And for me, I thought, yep, like, she can pray, but like, we've got to do something that's a bit more tangible than that. So she made this little shrine to Pepe. And she drew her name and a picture of her and pasted it on the wall right beside her bed, so that whenever she opened her eyes, she could see it. It lasted there one night, because the next morning I walked out of Rousseau Place and looked across the road, and there's a removal truck moving Paula and his family in. And I pulled Paula over to Sharney's shrine and said, look, you're an answer to Sharney's prayer. And that was the most amazing reunion for Sharney, to have Pepper come back into her life. Friends, Jade. This is how Jade sees Sharney. And this is the most beautiful picture that we could find to represent the beautiful Sharney dancing carefree into a field of sunflowers. Thank you, Jade.
Gotta get my happy pants on. Okay, Janine, why did you do that? Okay. I'm so honoured to have had the joy of growing up with Sharney by my side. I'm sorry, guys. Happy pants, happy pants. Okay. Her joy was infectious, and her heart was so honest, and was always geared towards others. It was truly rare and one of a kind. I know I'm not the only one who she impacted through her school and young church years. So if that's you, can you come and stand up with me, please? I know I was crying through that, so I'm going to say it again. If you were with her at school or with church, can you come and join me, please? I'm going to grab 100 of these. Oh, that feels better. Okay. Jade. I love you guys. So, I met Sharney in the middle of primary school. We both found ourselves, as Janine said, at celebrity status in Maxi Praise. We toured to different churches together, feeling so fancy and important, even singing on our own record with a group CD. From a young age, she naturally gravitated towards using her voice to share Jesus with others. Sharney and I became particularly close in her early high school years. We did church and we did school and many parts of life together. I remember our late nights on summer camps and school camps and chapels and surviving long lessons at school together. The longer I think about our sweet Sharney, the more memories I find in my heart. I remember jumping on her bright pink bedspread. We were in our early teens and us feeling extremely rebellious, trying on black eyeliner for the first time when we were 13. Fangirling over Glee together, and for me and everybody else in her life having to listen to her countless puns and dad jokes that she cherished so much. I also remember that she never let anyone be lonely. At school, she always went out of her way to bring people together, as you can see. And she made as many people feel as loved as humanly possible. And so, out of all of these memories, I have just a few more that made me smile I'd like to share. She was often so wonderfully weird. I remember having many sleepovers and games nights at her parents' place. And I remember one night someone mentioned that people from school had called our group of friends weird or nerds. Sharney piped in saying, well, who cares? Mum says that there is no shame in that, and that we're to wear our weird and our unique things as our badges of honour. And so, from that day on, not only did Sharney wear her quirkiness as a badge of honour, but I immediately felt less shame for the person who I wanted to be. And then we progressed to get in the car to go to Morris at Domino's to pick up pizza for our games night. But everything needed to be a game for her, so her dad decided that every 100 metres or so we would stop, scramble as fast as we possibly could out of the car, run around and jump back in. It wasn't particularly anything special, but we all laughed harder than we had in a while. Sharney found joy in the little things. She found joy in being exactly who she was, although she also found joy at our sleepovers with Michaela. Sharney and I quickly picked up on the fact that Michaela would talk in her sleep and could interact with us while she was still asleep. So we would spend way too many hours in tears laughing, watching Michaela army cross across the floor, while Sharney was pretending to be a monster chasing her in her dreams. Sorry, Michaela. Not sorry. Another wonderfully quirky thing we did was go through a short but passionate Justin Bieber phase in the autumn of 2010. Thankfully, Bill supported our craziness, and with Jess and Talia, we four found ourselves on a train desperately, instead of going to school that day, to try and see Justin Bieber in Sydney live in concert on Sunrise. But much to our disappointment, his show was cancelled. We managed to push through the crowd enough to spy the top of his head. Filled with excitement, Sharney decided we needed to have a completely embarrassing photo shoot in the train station to commemorate the occasion, before singing Justin Bieber songs at the top of our lungs the whole way home. At church, we formed a tight-knit community in our Sabbath school group, Gatecrash, and one of our and Sharney's favourite times of year were our Stormcode trips. Our church visited Maclean every year, and we stayed in the church, but we had to travel to the local high school for showers. We could never stop her singing, even in the shower. Sorry, my nose. Even in the shower, and everyone, us girls, would usually spend the whole time singing along with her, harmonising so beautifully and often terribly, singing along to Hakuna Matata and Valentine. She connected with so many children on these Stormcrow trips, even dressed as a clown. She would go out of her way and go to any lengths to make their day just a little bit better. Being around kids was where her heart was fullest. Back at church, her servant heart continually blew us all away, singing in worship teams with us and sharing her story despite how nervous she was on stage sometimes. Sharney never got in her own way. Her heart only ever looked out for others. To quote another one of her friends, Hannah, she said that her heart was too big for her own body, and she found so many ways to share it around. And so, sweet Sharney, when I look at your life and the wonderful way that you lived, I hope to be a little more like you. To embrace every part of me and live unapologetically the way that I am, but also live focused outside of myself. To grow my heart big enough that it no longer fits inside my chest, but that it naturally overflows and extends my love and the love of Jesus to everyone around me. We love you, sweet girl.
All I can say is, if you judge Sharney by the quality of her friends, she's pretty awesome. Sharney loved Glee. I got to appreciate it in the last few weeks. I did a Frozen binge with her. I'd never seen it before, and I'm happy to let it go. She's rolling her eyes right now. She loved, what were her favourite TV shows? Those who know it? Yell it out. Gilmore Girls, Friends. I think between her and Michaela, they could tell you the entire, whatever it is, series of Gilmore Girls script, word for word, from beginning to end. Sharney loved big anthemic movies. She loved Disney movies. Check out her Disney movie list when you sign a book. Her lovely cousins are going to sing a song that's got meaning beyond words.
While I compose myself, I went to visit Sharney in the hospital, and every time I visited her, she was so brave. And this one time, she had to have like a line taken out of her, and it was a really painful experience for her. And I said, "Do you want me to leave?" And she said, "No, stay." And so Uncle Bill held her hand, and I held her foot. And Uncle Bill said, "Let's put on some music, give her some, pump up jams." And I put on a random playlist, and just as the nurse had done all the preparation, just as she was ready to pull the line out, which was the painful bit, "This Is Me" started playing. And the words, "I am broken and I'm bruised," started playing. But Sharney was so brave the entire time. And as the words started playing, Uncle Bill was like, turn it on up. And Sharney like danced that line out of her body with such strength and bravery. And I wish all I had to do today was say words. But Sharney wanted us to sing. So bear with us. This is for her and not you. So if you don't like it, you can leave. And we're gonna sing anyway. I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. No one will love you as you are. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest word's gonna cut me down, gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. We'll fly away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, and that's what we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest word's gonna cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I'll make no apologies. This is me. This is me. Know that I deserve your love. There's nothing I'm not worthy of. I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Sing if you want the last time. For Sharney. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me.
Oh, that was brave. Sharney and David and I did a trip to California. And the jet-lagged little Sharney was the centre of the attention when we got together with Uncle John, who's right out there, and all the cousins. And She didn't realise it, but she was a star there. She'd saved up all her pocket money, as had David, and they'd bought themselves passes for Disneyland. Sharney had one thing she wanted to buy, and we had to get to the shops to get it. It was a ripstick. And one of the coolest photos I have of her is her being really ghetto on Venice Beach on her ripstick. Disneyland, David did what you do at Disneyland, and he went and enjoyed the roller coaster about 25 times in a row. He just sat there with and loved it. Sharney did the obligatory Mr. Pooh and teacups and stuff like that. But the thing she enjoyed the most was this little spot there where there was a bit of water running over some little bit of concrete. And she just stood there splashing in the water. This is the trip we saved up for and paid for. She was Sharney. She was beautiful. Sharney loved people, and there's probably no one that she would say she loved more in her teenage years than this man here, Wendy.
Sorry about the notes, but I'm not really good at remembering stuff these days. To say that it's an honour and a privilege to be here is a grotesque understatement. I wept when Jats rang up and asked me to speak today. And I do weep a lot nowadays, but I don't prior to this. Sharney was part of the last gate crash group that Jade mentioned before. I was either running helped run the Teen Sabbath School or ran it, and Sharney was part of the last group that we saw right through from the start of high school to the end of it. And it was I really enjoyed watching her grow from a quiet little button to an amazing, strong, independent woman she became. It was a real honour for me to see that transformation. I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to keep my shit together after that song. Sharney and I had the oddest of friendships, but it was always based on total honesty. I think it was grounding for Sharney to have a no BS friend, someone that she could get real world advice from, and sometimes even brutal honesty. I didn't sugarcoat anything with any of the teens. I told it like it was, and hopefully that's the value that I've sort of added to these lives. I'm not a pastor, although it would have been fun to have a pastor wind in the church. I remember midway through high school when her family circumstances changed. We had a chat, and I told her fairy tales are unfortunately often only found on TV, not necessarily always in real life. And the important thing I told her was that we should only really spend energy on the things that we can influence. Don't waste time on stuff that you can't. And I think she really appreciated that perspective. It was it's part of that real world advice that I used to like to hand out. When dating became a consideration, she again came to seek some sage advice. And I told her this: don't give up the goodies to shallow boys with cute smiles and cheesy lines. Make them earn it. And I suggested that she she make a decision on where her boundaries were in the calm light of day, rather than trying to make those decisions when a boy with cute smiles, cheesy lines, were whispering sweet nothings in her ear and kissing her neck. And I think, and she agreed that was a great idea. While Sharney had an easy to look at face, beautiful red hair and captivating eyes, she wasn't one of the girls who was relentlessly pursued by the in-crowd boys. I don't think I've ever been so happy for Sharney as I was at her year 12 formal. Good Lord, she was breathtakingly stunning that night. I just hope in that moment that she saw and believed just how beautiful she was, because she was stunning that night, absolutely stunning. When she graduated from college and accepted a teaching role in Radelaide, I was so proud of her. This was her chance to show the world and herself the strong and capable young woman that she had grown into. I checked in with her regularly during this time, and she was so proud of herself and her newfound independence. She would often send me pics of her bachelorette pad and how it was set up and stuff like that. I ramped up these check-ins during COVID lockdown, and I think she really appreciated that. Sharney and I seemed to laugh a lot when we chatted. I always look forward to these increasingly rare face-to-face catch-ups. I loved her subtle wit. The last one we had was when she was moved from Sydney to John Hunter Hospital. I was stoked when Bill rang me and told me that my presence had been requested. I felt like Willy Wonka getting the golden ticket, you know. During our chat, she told me about an impending electronic purchase and how she'd negotiated a $69 discount. And then she flashed a cheeky grin. Quick as a flash, I fired back, "Great discount. I'd jump straight on that if I was you." And then we laughed like 10-year-olds. Bill had let me know prior to my visit just how serious her condition was and how imminent her demise was. And I appreciated that because I went in armed. So I took the chance to offer a last dose of windy wisdom. Instead of focusing on her situation, I talked openly about my condition and my likely demise. Then I talked about the peace and calmness that I felt about that situation. And I again reminded her, only spend energy on the things that we can influence. I hope she found comfort in that. So Sharney, you mattered, you were loved, and you will always be remembered. Rest peacefully, Dickie Knee, until the trumpets.
I think she wanted it to be a secret, but she was a little bit naughty sometimes. Thanks, Wendy. Is there a picture here? Sharney would always look at me when she'd say, "What colour are my eyes, Dad?" And she'd come and hold me and stare into my eyes. To her was always important about who she was connected to. I think she could somehow work out that she was related to every person in this room. And so I'm going to ask her second cousin once removed Leighton to come and reflect church and school and stuff. Is it once removed? I remember when Charlie was born, she was working it out and it blew my mind.
I think it's just cuz. Morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to speak, Bill and Julianne and the family. I was high school chaplain while David and Sharney travelled through Avondale School. And Avondale School at the time, 2004 is when you guys arrived, I believe. Through 2010 when we moved away, was a place of Fred Cracknell's band tours and Benton Craig's choir tours and Peter Lindsay's longer than needed assemblies. Just send us an email, bro. Craig Young's Bible classes and Julianne's Bible classes and I can see it all. It's hard to describe it all, but Sharney was there amongst all of that. And we first got to meet her on our Stormco trip in 2005, I think, when Julianne came out as a staff member and brought a 10-year-old Rang with a slight little subtle lisp, a propensity for laughs, and she was ready to serve from 10 years old. She picked up the craft and served the food, and her big brother, I think she maybe was emulating her big brother who just ran the whole audio system as I think a 12-year-old. 2 years older than Sharney? Yeah, amazing. I'm really sorry because I just kind of he did so well, we threw David into the PA for like the rest of his high school years. You're just doing it, bro. Okay. And just really want to honour that. And Sharney really picked that up too, David. And what chance did Sharney have than to be a person who was going to serve humanity? She was taught by the head of Bible, her mum. She was learnt how to sing by her dad, the Mercy Me lead singer who should have been. She looked up to David, who virtually ran Avondale School for a few years there. So what chance did she have? She was always going to wear this shirt every year at least once. And I believe twice, many years going to Maclean and Cobar and Wee War. She had no chance. She was always going to be that person, but she certainly chose and stepped into the role. This fundamentally shaped who Sharney became. I talked to some of Sharney's teachers. They said she was diligent and passionate in the classes, but it was her presence and her service to her classmates that really stood out. So, Sharney, we just want to thank you when you get to look back on this day. We want to thank you that you wore this shirt, the Stormco shirt. We want to thank you that you came to Avondale School. We want to thank you that you showed us that a life where service to others really matters is the best way to live, the most rewarding. This is Sharney's last Stormco shirt. I brought it for you guys. I want to present it to you, Bill and Julianne and David. It's a ladies' large. Hopefully that's going to be the right size. It's the one I had anyway. Kind of appropriate that the last colour this for Sharney is kind of like the Aboriginal flag, the communities that she served out west. The red is the earth, and I can't wait to see the magic that Jesus has to pull her life back together and raise her up again when we get to meet her. That'll be beautiful, out of the earth. And then the black or dark navy, it's close to black, is the people. So I just want to present you Sharney's last Stormco t-shirt.
Thanks, Leighton. Sharney went straight to college. She was keen. She wanted to be a teacher. She spent time living in the dorm and absolutely loved it. She spent time on the, was it C grade basketball team? She was legendary at basketball. Her team wasn't strong enough to support the skills that she had. She was always telling me names of people that were at college. And just the way this little community is, like they were the grandkids of her grandparents. They were the grandkids of her grandparents. They were the kids of people that I'd gone to college with and her mum had gone to college with. And if you wanted to write a list of her friends from college, her journal's not long enough, because she was a friend with everyone. Kira Lee is one of those. Thanks, Kira Lee.
So my name's Kira Lee. My friends call me Kira, so I can do that. Today I'm going to be speaking about Sharney's time at Avondale. So Sharney started college in 2015. She studied primary teaching, and the passion that she had for it was something that left me in awe constantly. As we've already heard today, she was passionate about ensuring access to a quality education for everyone. She gained her TESOL qualification, an advanced diploma, I saw, it's amazing, and completed a moto trip to Cambodia as well. She was fully committed to following God's leading in that area of her life. I was able to witness Sharney's passion and giftedness for teaching firsthand. When she was completing her final placement at Wurrunga Adventist School, I was at the same school completing my third year placement. And if you're a teaching student, if you've ever done that, you know how exciting it is when you know someone on prac. So I was having a good time. I think she was too. So I got to see Sharney in action. She loved those kids, and if she loved those students in Adelaide even half as much, I know they were incredibly blessed. I remember her telling me about some of the lessons that she had planned for those students. I remember one involving emptying the entire contents of a little thing of toothpaste and her singing songs to teach her students maths. She showed so much of Jesus to those students when we were on prac, and she showed a lot of Jesus to me as well. I actually didn't become friends with Sharney until 2017, which was her third year of college and my second. Funnily enough, our first interaction was over Messenger. She messaged me asking to swap rooms with her. It was okay, I wanted the other room anyway. But little did I know this was going to be one of the most meaningful friendships I'd have. Level 4 back wing hallway that year was, and I'm a little biased, the place to be. It was rare that laughter wasn't coming from our hall, and Sharney was all too often at the centre of that. The constantly open door, the ukulele, the chocolate that was on offer, the puzzle on her desk, they all made Sharney's room a very special place. That year, the girls down our hallway got into a little bit of a prank war. It involved a lot of glitter in a lot of beds at outlandish times of the night. Eventually, in order to stop our war from devolving any further and to prevent any more finger pointing because it was getting bad, the glitter ended up frozen in Sharney's freezer. One of the best memories I have of Sharney is her spontaneity. Whether it was a trip to Kmart, of which there were many, or to study at the picnic tables outside of Rejuve, Sharney made life an adventure. One of the most precious memories I have is when we went to Moimoi Bay, just the two of us. I remember that I'd been having a hard day and she offered to take me out. I was stressed out of my mind to begin with, but Sharney had a way of distressing you, I think. I remember laughing and feeling way better after. She forced me and her other friends to break out of our own rigid patterns we set for ourselves and start to enjoy ourselves as well. Sharney was also incredibly welcoming. She made sure that everyone was looked after. There were frequent invites over to her home for games nights or movie nights, which were open to everyone. In 2018, when Sharney graduated from college, and just prior to her move to Adelaide, I got to stay with her and Julianne over grad weekend. I felt like just another piece of the family. She had a huge love for people, her family, her friends, and even those who she hadn't yet met. Life with Sharney was better for many reasons. One of those was that it was more humorous. She had one of the sharpest senses of wit I've ever encountered. When I was looking back through my messages with her last week, I found a lot of gems. I think were pretty funny. Once I asked her how she was finding something, I think it might have been a meeting, and she said, usually with a GPS. Another time, she sent me a photo of a puzzle piece that she'd found on herself in the shower. There is never a dull moment with Sharney. You didn't have to worry with Sharney. You could share how you were feeling, whether it was a high or a low. You didn't have to worry that you'd push her away with the bad either. She was real and unapologetically herself. She didn't try to sugarcoat what was going on, but she did often have something positive to say about it. She gave a lot, and she was always willing to listen. At Avondale College, Sharney shone bright as a remarkable friend and a brilliant teaching student. College and all of us who met her there are blessed to have had her as a part of our lives.
Thank you so much. If anybody's seen anything to do with Sharney, she had her YouTube channel, and in the last few weeks she was watching the numbers just go up, and you know, that channel reflects a lot of the stuff that she was thinking at the time she recorded it. And one of those songs, she said, this song is just so meaningful to me right now. And big cousin Benny's here today. Benny's going to do one of these songs that Sharney absolutely loved. And I know you'll be blessed by Benny singing this for us. Thanks, Benny.
What if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? Your mercy's in disguise. As if every promise from your word is not enough. Please, along with me, have faith to believe. What if your blessings come through rain?
raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights? What it takes to know you're near? What if trials of this life are your mercies in disguise? Seems to when we know pain reminds us why this is not our home. Not our home. What if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if my greatest disappointments or the aching of this life is the revealing of a greater thirst this world can't satisfy? What if trials of this life, the rain, the storms, the hardest nights, mercies in disguise? Okay, let's put on our happy pants. Sharney loved Holden. Holden versus Ford. One day, my dad's car broke down. Sharney goes, haha, it's a Ford. Sharney knew that as my kids grew up, that I would often get the question, say, my whole life I got the question, so which Truscott are you related to? And I loved it when I got to the point that I could say David and Sharney. And it was sort of that thought that had Sharney motivated to skip town and go to Adelaide. And she found out who she was on her own, and we're so grateful to one of her amazing bosses, using Sharney's words, Tamara, for joining us from Adelaide.
Thank you, Bill. My name is Tamara Bernoth, and I'm one of the Deputy Principals at Prescott Primary Northern in South Australia. Although heartbroken, it's my absolute honour and privilege to share, on behalf of our Prescott family, some memories and insights of Sharney, or who we fondly known as Miss Truscott, as a teacher, a colleague, and a friend. I first made contact with Sharney in September 2018 when she was considering a job offer to come and teach Year 2 at Prescott. I remember her excitement, her wonder, her genuine nerves of the unknown, and her absolute keenness to begin her teaching career, a ministry role she certainly embraced. We shared conversations about what her role may look like, the team that she'd be working alongside, and just the general move, as this was a huge step to uproot from her precious family, move interstate. This was no easy thing for her to consider. However, we were incredibly blessed that Sharney was courageous and made a leap of faith and followed God's leading to become a part of our team at Prescott Primary Northern. We often spoke during her time with us and agreed that her making this move meant she fell into a family at Prescott. A family that teach together, that laugh with one another and often at one another, that cry together, that celebrate one another, that share frustrations and stresses and journey together as colleagues, but more importantly as family. Teaching was not always easy for Sharney, and she faced some challenges along the way like any new graduate teacher. Sharney wasn't afraid to come and talk to us about the good and the bad in her personal life and within her professional life. But she would also lean into her Prescott family. We valued her grit, her determination, and her teachable spirit to work through these challenges and to grow from them. She had a willingness to draw on the wisdom and the strength of the team that was placed around her. The growth we saw in Sharney, personally and professionally, in her 2 years with us, was an absolute privilege to witness and to sharing. God placing Sharney at Prescott was no accident, as it was certainly meant to be, not just for her journey, but to touch the lives of the staff in our school community as well. There are so many beautiful qualities we saw in Sharney, and a standout one for many was the heart she had for her students, particularly those that needed someone in their corner. She used her own life experiences to give her the tools and the heart for those students. She was patient with her little ones. She was gentle and she was calm. She wove her dry and quirky sense of humour into her teaching. She was musical, and we'd often hear the ukulele played in her classroom, and often in our chapel band as well, praising God with her whole heart. She enjoyed dressing up, which tends to happen a lot at Prescott. We'll find any excuse to dress up, and she loved it. She was creative, and she would put many hours and effort into creating memorable lessons, particularly in science, for her students. Some younger students actually referred to her as a chicken teacher, due to the fact that she hosted chickens in her class in Term 4 for her life cycle science unit. I know quite a few Year 1 students that would look forward to Year 2 and would ask if they could be in with the chicken teacher. During both Term 4s, I'd often frequent her room with a child or two who was struggling with something in their life, and we'd spend time with Miss Truscott and hold chickens. Both Sharney and the chickens would have a calming presence on these anxious and upset children. Little did she know that the chicken teacher would become the mother hen to her students. Sharney was a hugger, and I'm sure many of you in this room experienced that. A willing hug giver and a willing hug receiver. Many on staff miss her regular hugs. Sharney had a knack for really celebrating the growth of her students. She would often bring her students to our office to share and rejoice over their growth. I remember one particular occasion she brought down one of her students who she fondly referred to as my little friend. He was a frequent flyer in our office for some not so good choices, but this time she was excited to bring him down to celebrate him going up quite a few reading levels. This student was absolutely beaming and so very proud of his accomplishments. And I remember as I looked towards Sharney, this was reflected on her face. The pride for her little friend was absolutely courageous and contagious. Celebrating the big and little moments of growth and joy is a beautiful attribute Sharney, as a teacher, that can inspire and encourage many of us to do the same. During the World Teachers Week last year, I interviewed some students, including some of Sharney's students, for a video to share with the staff. The common theme of these little ones in regards to Sharney were her fun lessons and for her always being kind, even if they were in trouble or had done the wrong thing. What a legacy. I spent some time this past week with one of Sharney's past students that was particularly upset about her passing. We shared memories together and I asked her what her favourite thing about Miss Truscott was. Her immediate reply was this: she was my favourite teacher. She was always kind to me and she made me feel safe. As a school leader, what more could you want from your teachers? What a beautiful summary of a beautiful teacher. Sharney's dry sense of humour and quirky one-liners will be missed by our team. Our Year 2 teachers reflected upon times when they would chat about their experiences in uni or their early career days, and Sharney would cheekily share with them that she hadn't even been born then. She would often remind Angela and Kelly that they were both old enough to be her mum. In fact, Sharney adopted quite a few mum-like figures in Adelaide, some special relationships that will always be held dear. A particularly fun memory was when one afternoon Sharney announced that she had decided to experiment and make her own kombucha and needed to leave at the end of the Year 2 meeting to collect some kombucha starter she'd randomly found on Marketplace. She sent photos of this starter to Ange and Kelly, and they spent the entire weekend worried that she would either poison herself or blow up her apartment. To this day, we are unsure of whether this experiment was successful. However, we're pretty confident she didn't blow up her apartment.
Sharney was a prayer warrior, not just for her students, but for many of you in here in this room. She would often bring those dearest to her heart forward in prayer during staff worship. Sharney believed in the power of prayer and lived out the faith through her joys and sorrows. As a staff family, we valued her willingness to be raw and vulnerable when she shared about her journey with God during staff worship. There are many songs that she shared and spoke to her heart that will always be Sharney's songs for us. And Ben, you shared one this morning. Thank you. Sharney missed her family so much, particularly this last year, with the limited opportunities to travel back and forth with the travel restrictions. And she made this decision to then fly our coop and move back home at the end of the year to be close to her much-loved family. We didn't want her to lose her at Prescott, as she had very much fit into our family. But in hindsight, we are so very grateful that she was close to her family during her final few months. Although her teaching career was very short, Sharney used her time to make a positive and lasting impact on her students, her team, and the school community. There are little ones that will be forever touched by her kindness, her support, and her love. Our hearts are breaking that she's gone. It was such an honour for our Prescott community that we were blessed with her 2 years of her teaching career and to be a part of her amazing growth and her journey as a person and also as a teacher. We will always remember Sharney for the incredibly gentle-hearted and kind teacher she was. And as a Prescott family, we will lean on one another as we walk through this loss and continue in the teaching ministry that Sharney was so passionate about.
Quarter to 5 each day, I'd get a phone call almost every day. It meant two things. School had finished for the day and Sharney was on the way to Kmart. Speaking as an educator, there will be homework. Love you to think of a story that you have of Sharney, a happy story, and pair and share when we get out of here later this morning. Brings us to this year. We are so grateful that Sharney came home when she did. No one knew why, but it was the right thing. She was giving right to the end. She gave everything that she could. The last conversation I had was about her can-do attitude. She said, "Yep, Dad, you can remember that I would always suck it up, princess." She gave all she had and she did not give up. She was such a huge spark. She gave a huge fight. And in her life, she's surely made a huge explosion. I'm glad that you could be with us to celebrate her life of faith and hope, and above all, love. Sharney, I'll love you until the day after, forever.
It is a privilege to stand before you all, family and friends. I have a brief story to tell you before I sing. I was involved in a musical in my final year of study at Avondale College University. And in this musical, it spanned over 3 nights. I myself am not one for public speaking. I cringe at standing before people. I do it for a living now. But to sing in front of people was something that rocked me to my very core. The first night I performed, I stood in front of people. I sang. I had to act. I remember leaving the venue and driving home, and I had this real deep sadness in my heart. And it's because I didn't feel like I did well. I got home, got into my room, and I remember as my head touched the pillow, I received a message. I opened my eyes, picked up my phone, and I read the message, and the message was from Sharney. It was a Facebook message. It was a long message. I remember reading it. One of the things that got me that I'll never forget. I remember sitting up in my bed as tears streamed down my eyes. She called me one of her inspirations. But at that moment, I didn't feel like it. That message she gave me was the boost, was the strength that I actually needed, and I got up the next morning and I went and I acted the next night and the next night. Thank you so much, Sharney. April this year, I made a promise to her, and that promise was that I would sing a song and I'll record it and I'll send it through to her. And I fulfilled that promise the latter part of May when I heard the news. Let me just sing. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like seas billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul, it is well with my soul, it is well, it is well with my soul. My favorite verse. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul, it is well with my soul, it is well, it is well with my soul. Thank you so much, Sharney, because without that message, I don't know if I'll be able to do what I do today. The inspiration, the assurance and the affirmation in that message. Thank you. Thank you.
actually very little I need to say because it has actually been said. You know her. You knew her, and that has come out so beautifully this morning. Sharney loved stories. I can remember 4 years old sitting behind me in the back of the car as our little family would drive up the mountain to see great-grandma and great-granddad. And she would say, "Tell me a story about when I was young." This is 4-year-old Sharney. And we'd have to get it right. She knew her stories. We videoed them from a very young age because we did live in Papua New Guinea and then in Fiji and then Cairns and so on. And so we wanted to share stories, their life, with their family. Sharney almost completely wore out the family videotapes. She would watch and watch and watch and watch them. She could recite them. And she could speak as David spoke when he was tiny, before she was born. She would put on his little tiny cute speech and she could mimic it perfectly. But yeah, she did nearly wear them out, so fortunately I was able to convert them to digital before she quite did that. But she loved stories about her, about others. She loved hearing about other people's lives. I used to call her my sunshine and my rainbow, and I know there are people here who have heard me describe her as that. But I can see today so clearly that she is that for all of you. I won't repeat everything that's already been said because it's been said, but we know she was unique. She was proudly, boldly unique. She was her own person. And no matter what happened in her life, no matter who came along, she would be true to herself. Sometimes even confrontingly so, be truthful with us. But it was always from love. And the amazing thing is you knew it was always authentic. You knew that the choices she made in her life were her choices. She loved Jesus passionately, but she did it her way. She wasn't bound by rules. She wasn't bound by what we had told her. She owned it herself and did it her way, and it was beautiful, which is why you're here. Probably one of my fondest memories of her at school as one of her teachers is just the way she loved without prejudice, and how she happened to be in a class, a cohort, where there were a number of peers who was able to stand up for themselves as the rest of their class. They had some challenges, and they were bullied. He will take delight in you with gladness. With his love, he will calm all your fears. And then this is my favourite part, and I could so picture it throughout her whole life. He, Lord, will rejoice over you with joyful songs. I can't wait till we can do that with her again.
Amazing morning we have had. The stories, the sharing, the music. Sharney would so love to have been here, wouldn't she? So love. She would have been in her element. And actually she is here with us because we each carry her in our heart. So Sharney, we honour you today. We love you. We thank you. Julianne, she was the Lord with us. She was the touch of Jesus right through her life. The hands and feet and heart of Jesus. She was a shining light. Beautiful. I want you to look out through the window and see the gathering under the marquee and wave to them, because there's a whole bunch of people under the marquee. Thank you, Gateway, for setting that up for us. Those of you in the marquee, please know that you're one with us this morning. Those of you who are live streaming from all around the world, we hope you've been blessed this morning, as we have been blessed, and we hope that you feel like you're here with us as we celebrate. Janine, thank you. Thank you for kicking us off with happy pants and celebrations and smiles. Thank you for your words, your poetry, beautiful, your songs. Jade, where are you, Jade? Put your hand up. Jade. Wow. Can you tell me when you painted this? How long ago? 3 days ago. And this Jade just sat down and painted the way she saw Sharney. Is that perfect or what? Thank you, Jade. Yeah, let's give her a hand. Mickey and Charlie, that was so hard for you to sing, and you did it so beautifully. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Chris, where are you? Pastor Chris? Pastor Wind, I mean. Pastor Wind. Oh, you really missed an opportunity, bro. But I want you to know, Chris, I want you to know, we want you to know that you're a supreme pastor, have been all your life, particularly to our kids. Me, a designated pastor, I let my 4 kids down many times. And many times, Chris, you stepped in and you pastored them when they didn't get it from me. So thank you, mate. Thank you. Kira Lee, thank you for the snippets from Avondale, the dorm life. Really cool. Ben, wow, that was tough. Blessings, that song, what an amazing song. And I think we've all touched today, this week, the last month, the last year, I think we've all touched the fact that God's blessings are not what we expect so many times. And his answers are not the ones that we ask for so many times. And this home, Tony and Ann's home, has been the place where we have grieved before. Particularly the Gateway community, we have grieved here. It's a place where we have rejoiced here. Andrew and Sonia, I remember your wedding, the flowers. A place with so many beautiful memories. Tony and Anne, thank you for opening your home to us. This is not just any normal service, this is us coming together as family and friends in a home, not a church, in a home, to remember someone that we loved and to cherish this girl that we love, this sweet girl, Sharney. Leighton, my fellow conspirator, Avondale School chaplain. It's actually 4 of us here today. We've got James here, we've got Brian here, I'm here as an ex-chaplain, and Late as an ex-chaplain. And we have each, as chaplains, but Sharney has not just tiptoed through our lives, she has flashed through our lives with glamour and with passion. And it's my privilege to share a little bit about my time with Sharney as her chaplain. And if we could have that picture up, Riley, thanks. I feel really good about looking across here because every Stormco trip to Cobar, we had Ethan on sound, and here he is. Thanks, Ethan. And we had Riley helping out, as well as being a clown. You're a pretty good clown, Riley. But there's our Stormco team for years and years and years, and here they are. Tamara, thank you. Where are you, Tamara? Thank you first of all for loving on our girl when she was with you in Adelaide. for a couple of years. Thank you for taking care of her. The week before Sharney started teaching, she gave me a call and she said, Pastor Mel, remember those crosses you used to put above our classroom doors? And I said, yeah, we had a practice of doing a prayer walk before the beginning of school, and anointing each classroom and asking God to post his angels at the doorways so that as kids walked in and out, they'd brush past angels for the year. And I had no idea that, Sharney was, as always, helped us with that, just as a part of what we did. And I had no idea what an impact it made on her life until I got that call. Before she started teaching, she wanted to anoint her classroom. She wanted angels to be at the doorway of her classroom. And she said, Pastor Mel, talk me through that. I saw it happen, but talk me through that. Talk me through the significance of that, because we want to do it here. And so I gave Phil a call, Phil Lillyhagen, the chaplain, and we talked it through, and that's what they did. They dedicated the classrooms. Pretty cool. Wow, it is well with my soul. Wasn't that beautiful? My goodness, I had no idea you could sing like that when you're at Avondale. Wow. And for me as an old guy, one of the absolute joys is seeing students lead and be the touch of Jesus in their world. It's just beautiful. Thank you for Bill, I don't know where you've gone off to, but Bill, thank you for hosting through that whole sharing section. You did that bravely, courageously and wonderfully. Julianne, a mother's heart, Bill, a father's heart. They're breaking today, we know. They're breaking. And yet they're also filled up with all of this beautiful goodness and joy. That is exactly what Sharney wanted for this day. So this is a gathering of friends. Sharney would have wanted nothing better. I've had this slide up here for a little while. I love this slide. I spent quite some time going through tens of thousands of Stormco photos over the years, literally. Well, maybe not tens of thousands, but a lot. And picked out some of my favourites from Sharney over the many years that she came with us to Cobar. This is one of my favourites. Sharney on the right, of course, expresses that picture for me, just in a moment, captures Sharney. The passion, the joy, the excitement, the anticipation, the can't wait to get into this moment, that I'm going to make a difference, Sharney. This is the Sharney we all knew so well. Sharney loved, my first memory of Sharney on Stormco was when she was just in primary school still. And Julianne was out at Cobar as one of our staff members, and she brought Sharney along. And Sharney loved, she didn't want to just be, the teacher's kid sitting in a corner. She actually stepped up and became an active part of our team right from the get-go. She was helping with the cooking, she was helping with the serving. There are some parts that she especially loved, which I'll talk about in a few moments. But one of the things that Sharney treasured right through her time was the community, her people, the people that she loved doing life with. And there were several of those. There were her friendship communities at church, at Gateway, at school. But the Stormco community was pretty special. This is one picture. Sharney's on the left there of the Cobar sign. Would you stand up if you've been with Sharney to Cobar on a Stormco trip? Just stand up where you are. Fantastic. And Jono, who's the current Stormco leader, is about to take another trip to out to Cobar. 22nd year, 23rd year, 23rd consecutive year Avondale's been to Cobar, which is absolutely brilliant. Stay standing. Anyone who's been on other Stormco trips with Sharney, stand up. There you go. Fantastic, thank you. Sit down. For those of you who don't know what Stormco is an adventuring service. It's an opportunity where we take a group of students to an outback community and do nothing but serve. We find out what the needs of the community are, and we meet them. That's all we do. We put joy in people's hearts and lives. So Stormco stands for Service to Others Really Matters. And that became the defining theme of Sharney's life. That's what she was about. It was true before she came to Stormco, but Stormco gave her a language and a method, a way to act out and to live out. Service to others really matters. Stormco for Sharney was not just an event or 2 or 3 trips a year that she would do. Stormco for Sharney was a way of life. She chose it. She said, this is what I want my life to be about. Serving others. And she, of the many incredible young adults that we've had go through Stormco and that I've served with on Stormcos, Sharney exemplifies better than any, or better as well as any, the heart of service that drives and is important with what we do. Here's another year. This time on the corner we have Charlie, who was there underage as well. Charlie, because your mum Ren was our cook, and Ren, thank you for the many years you've given to cooking on Stormcos, and you're about to do it again, I understand. Big hand for Ren, she's just awesome. So Charlie, you kick Sharney off the left of the Cobar sign and she's out on the edge there. But these people are not just, this is not just random pictures, there's one of these every single year. These people became blood family to Sharney. They were not just friends, they were, this is, you know, they were who she was. And I think we can all testify to that. Some of the things Sharney loved to do, she loved to be on the registration table. She loved that. Why? Because she got to meet every kid coming into Stormco. And she just pled every time, can you put me on the registration table? And of course we did. She also loved taking photographs, and I would give her my camera. And why did she love taking photographs? Because it gave her a chance to get a picture of every single kid that was at Kids Club. It became a way for her to connect. She loved being a clown. She was a really good clown. And she didn't even need the gear to be a clown. She just was a clown. And she did that so very well. Graham, where are you? Graham Frawley. Wave your hand at me, Graham. I'm blind, I cannot see, I'm old. Hey? He might be across in the marquee, is he? Anyway, Graham actually taught our kids how to do clowning. Clowning is not just putting on a clown suit. Clowning is so much more than that. It's putting joy in people's lives. It's setting people free. And Jade, you've captured that spirit here. You know, I look at that. That's a masterpiece, girl. That is incredible. That is my favourite of all pictures. I want it. Can I take it? Send me a digital copy. Seriously, that's just amazing. You could not have captured Sharney's spirit better. Thank you. Sharney loved to do worship. The teen worships at night times were her favourite time of Stormco, if you could have a favourite time. And she loved the community, the genuine community that we had in our teen worships that would go for a couple of hours sometimes. And what did we do in our worships? We sung and we celebrated where God had shown up that day. We gave testimony. Sharney loved that. Sharney loved. Did we miss one? Did we have one of her with a little heart? A little piece of paper and a heart. Riley, can you see that there? Maybe back a bit, we might have flicked through it. No? Okay, maybe it's coming. Let me talk to her. I had a picture of her with a little piece of paper with a heart and a whole handful of folded papers. It may come up down the track. That was our secret friend what we do in Stormco is our secret friend deal. So at the beginning of the trip, everyone gets divided up into secret friends. Sharney loved doing that. She loved not only writing the names out for people to choose out, but she loved collating and organising the friend notes to each other and passing them out at the end of the night. And most of all, I think she just loved kids. And Riley, if you could just flick through these, you know, just flick through them. The pictures are so powerful, and these pictures describe what put joy in Sharney's heart. Let's stop at that one. Sharney was lucky enough, and many of you here were lucky enough as well, to be at Cobar in an era when we were blessed to have Michaela with us. Michaela is in the wheelchair down at the front. Michaela was a little girl from Cobar who was given just a few years to live. She was meant to die not making the age of 10. Michaela came to every single Stormco, even though she was immunocompromised, and her family were happy for her to do that. She became our Michaela. Every year we would have Michaela stay back after every one of our last goodbyes. She would stay back and we would get a team shot with Michaela. We did journey with Michaela and her parents. So Michaela lived until she was 14, I think. 4 years past when she was expected to live. Sharney was blessed and fortunate to know Michaela and to have been touched by her life and the sadness of her loss. And to process that, we processed that as a team. How does this stuff happen? And yet little Michaela has changed so many lives in her few short years, 14 years, with her joy and her happiness. Always had a smile on her face. We did a community service project at her home because their home was a mess because they were so busy looking after Michaela and all the medical things around her. So we did a backyard blitz and a front yard blitz and an in-house blitz. And as we were out weeding the front lawn, Michaela came out with her wheelchair, asked Tori to push her out. And Tori pushed her out and she got down off her wheelchair and unplugged her oxygen and got her own little bucket and her own little set of gloves and her own little spade, and she began to dig weeds with us with a smile as big on her face. Sharney was blessed to know Michaela, and I reckon it might have given her a sense of certainty about the fact that even though towards the end she knew she wasn't going to make it, she knew that her life was enough, and all the things that she wanted to achieve had actually been achieved. And I'm very sure that Michaela was a part of that formative, as we journeyed with Michaela's joy and loss, was a part of who Sharney was. She carried that. It became a part of her. So anyone in that picture, very blessed to be there. Next one, Ryan. Thanks, mate. Oh, there we go. There's the friend. Sharney loved connecting people. She loved handing letters to people that she knew would put a smile in their heart. She was the ultimate matchmaker, but not in terms of boyfriend, girlfriend, just in terms of friendship. Friendship, the ultimate matchmaker. Love that. Next. Freddo Frogs, always a really important part of Stormco for those who don't do Stormco. We do this at night at worship time, and we just throw out 5 or 6 Freddo frogs onto the floor, and it's a mad scramble to get a Freddo frog. People just dive at it and grab one and take it back. But it's not a Freddo frog for yourself. It's a Freddo frog to give to another member of the team around the circle. And as the Freddo frog was gifted, the person gifting it would say, "Here is what I love about what I saw in you today. Here is what I love about what I saw in you today." It was a gift of encouragement and a gift of affirmation. And it's probably one of the most profound things we do on Stormco, because it actually changes the culture of the group. We look for the good in others actively. We look to catch people out doing good stuff. We congratulate people for being kind and for serving. I wish I could take all of you onto one of our little circle worships for a Freddo Frog Awards moment, so that you could feel it and see it and touch it. It's a little slice of heaven, it really is. It's a window of heaven. So today I talked to Julianne and Bill and David, and we would have loved to have just thrown out Freddo frogs down the aisle and say, "Come on, let's do it." But we don't have time for that. We do have time, but it didn't really fit with what we wanted to do. So when you go to the journal at the back and write some thoughts and love on Sharney in her journal in writing or picture, beside the journal is a big basket of Freddo frogs, over 100. Enough for most of you. Well, some of you, because there's a lot of us here. What I'd love you to do when you write is to just take a Freddo frog, and before you leave today, seek someone out that you know and that you appreciate, that you cherish. Give them the Freddo frog and tell them why you love them. Okay? That's what we would love you to do. Speak a word of encouragement and a word of love into someone. It might be a friend. You haven't had time to see each other in action, so you can't really say, "I really like what I saw you do there." So it probably needs to be just friends that you know. But please do it. We don't do it anywhere near often enough. I sent a text to my daughter Jazz last night, Jazz, and it was partly because I was reflecting on Sharney. Jazz was another of our little stormgoers that came in primary school. I said, "Jazz, I love you more than you can possibly imagine. Just wanted you to know, Dad." That's all I did, shot it off to her. Moments later, I got a text back from her. And I haven't even asked her permission to share this. Sorry, Jazz, if you're watching live streaming. Moments later, "I love you too, Dad. Thanks." It doesn't take much, does it? It doesn't take much, but it means the world. So take your Freddo frog and bless someone. Bless someone today. I have loved being a part of this. Do you realise what time it is? Look, we've been going like almost 2 hours. This day is a day intentionally that we said we don't want it to have an end. There's no curfew. There's no time you need to be out of here. We're done with, this is what we wanted to do in remembering Sharney, tell stories, celebrate her life and what she is, who she is. I do want to share, before I close though, a couple of really important things, perhaps the most important. Sharney was a woman of, a little girl, and then a young lady, and then a woman of faith, deep faith. She loved her God. She loved Jesus. She had a personal relationship with the Holy Spirit and with Jesus, and she walked with him, which is why she could embrace the song Blessing, which is why she could, in the midst of all of the whys, accept with peace and with grace that this is my journey. Girl of deep faith. I've missed the whole section. People. Cobar teams that we got. This is Michaela and her brother Jacob. Those of you who've been to Cobar will know we had a whole bunch of Cobar youth who became a part of our team, and Sharney was a part of embracing them. We took shirts out and they became a part of our team. This is Michaela. She's now moved to Brisbane. I ran into her in Woolworths in Brisbane the other day. I saw her down the corridor. I said, it's Michaela from Cobar. I snuck up behind her. I said, Michaela. She jumped and dropped her groceries and Pastor Mel. Lifelong connections. Sharney was a part of that. Next, let's just school friends that she went deeper with. Jade, that's a great shot. I love that shot. Next, doing illegal things, little slightly illegal things. See, who was at the front? Who was at the front, leading the pack? Next, Restore One. Sharney's life was not just about Stormco. That gave her a starting point, a foundation. She went on to go to Cambodia a couple of times. She loved Tanya's vision for Restore One, Tanya Lawrence's vision. And she has dedicated the last act of her, the last choice that she has made, she has dedicated to helping Restore One. She wants to work for her legacy to continue to bless Tanya's work in freeing young girls from prostitution, giving them a future, providing a place where they can have some peace in the midst of chaos, a reading garden, a quiet space. So many visions of what can happen. So please today, log on, ask one of us if you don't know how to log on to the link and make a donation to Restore One. Make that a part of what today is about, was what Sharney's great desire was. Has anyone got reception? Have we got, if you do, can you, what's our update on the tally? We probably don't have reception, so that's fine, but we're well on the way to our target. So Restore One, love you to be a part of that. Next slide. Is that it, Riley? Is that our last slide? Oh, no, of course it's not. How good is this picture? I found this like at 1 o'clock this morning. I said, that is the picture I want to finish. And I'm not quite finished, but I've got it again. And this is what I was coming to. Sharney, the girl of faith, the woman of faith. Julianne, her mum, told me that Isaiah 43 was a very loved passage of scripture for Sharney, particularly in these last few months. This is Isaiah 43:2. Just back one, please, Riley, thanks. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Fear not, I am with you. Sharney cherished that. And then the following verse. When you go through deep waters and great trouble, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, the flames will not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, your Saviour, the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 43:2 and 3. Another favourite passage of Sharney's, favourite scripture, and she had many, was Romans. And if we can go to the next slide, Romans 15. And this is the last slide. This is in Sharney's room, this plaque. This became a focal point for Sharney in her life. It was in her room. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Romans 15:13. I can't think of a better prayer and a better blessing to leave with you, to embrace myself, but to leave with you this morning. May the God of hope fill you with all joy, even in the midst of grief. Fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Romans 15:13. One of our dearly loved pastors that has been a part of Gateway, Pastor Ian, is here today. And Pastor Ian, it's an honour. You've been many times in this home, We've cried and we've laughed together many times here. And Ian is going to say a few words and then pray with us. Thank you.
Well, it's already been said, there's not very many words to still be said. I was asked if I would conclude our time together with prayer, but I feel like we've just spent 2 hours of prayer. You know, I mean, all of the important parts of prayer are here. We have praised God. We have celebrated. We have been left with unanswered questions. And that's all kind of what prayer is. But our hearts have been touched and we've been drawn close to Christ. And so there's not a lot left to be said in prayer, but maybe just a few words to finish off. Lord, today our hearts are at once both gladdened and deeply saddened. We will all miss Sharney, but none so much as her family. Together we pray, Lord, for your healing, for broken hearts, and for your comfort and peace in place of our emotional turmoil. We ask for joy to replace our tears. Lord, please hold the family fast with your love. Comfort all who mourn today. We've been inspired through the many reflections that we've shared. We've been encouraged by Sharney's faith and trust and by her devotion to and support of all those others that have been touched in your name. Sharney chose, Lord, for her life to reflect yours and to glorify you. And for the last 2 hours we've seen a glimpse of just how you work through her to reveal yourself and to bring joy to the lives of others. We thank you. Our anticipation of your return and the promise of eternity has been strengthened yet again today. Thank you, Lord, for experiencing our pain and sharing it with us. Thank you for this moment that you have spent with us today, and for your promise that all will be made new when you return. Lord, we confidently await that day and the fulfillment of your promise, and we commit our hurt and our pain to you until that time. We have complete faith that the gift of Calvary, the resurrection that followed, guaranteed our resurrections, guaranteed new life for Sharney. We can't wait for that day, Lord. We are sick of this old world, and we just pray that you will return soon. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
No
Thank you, Kevin and Jennifer, just beautiful. The picture we had of Sharney, the last one, and this picture over here for me captures the very next moments that Sharney will experience, which is the coming of her Lord Jesus. I can't wait for that day. I've got a list of people I want to, top of my list to check in with. And I know that you can't wait for that day. I know Sharney will be there. A couple of announcements before we break, and Gateway Church have provided amazing catering for us. So just some things we need to take care of, housekeeping things. We do have a COVID-safe plan for this event. If you haven't either signed on or logged on with your phone, please make sure you do that. The sign-in register is at the door, and there's a QR code you can scan as well. So if you didn't do that when you came in, please make sure you do that before you leave. Toilets, again, there's 2 inside toilets here for the ladies, and there's 1 outside dunny for the blokes. I'm not sure what the ratio 2 to 1 means, but the coffee cart still here. Please grab a coffee. 20% of all profit made today goes to the Restore One project for Sharney. And please say thank you to the coffee guys as you wait for your coffee. Have a chat. Bless them for giving up some time to be here as well. The journal is up the back in the corner. Please make sure you write in that before you leave today, whenever that may be. Tony and Anne would love you gone by midnight, please. No, I'm sure as soon as dark comes we'll be gone, but please feel free to leave whenever you want to. That's the nuts and bolts of it. We're here to fellowship and enjoy others' company. If you need to head off to other things, that's totally okay. So just leave when you're ready to leave. There is no ending from here on. It's just hanging around, catching up, eating good food. When it comes to food, the food will be served to you, so please don't try and serve yourself. That's a part of our COVID safe plan. Please use hand sanitizer before you pick up your plate. And if you want to come back for seconds, you're fine to do that. But don't congregate at the servery place. Get your food and then head out to one of the many locations around the fire pits on this beautiful property, and do, you know what Sharney loved to do, catch up with good friends, catch up with people, and if you can do it over good food, even better. I think that's it. Oh, blue chairs. If you're sitting on a blue chair up the back, please take that outside with you when you leave, or at the end, as soon as I stop talking. Pick up your chair, take it out, and we're going to make circles of chairs for people to sit on once they've got their food. So if you can help us with that, if you're on a blue chair. Just looking through my list here, I think we're pretty much... Freddo frogs, don't forget a Freddo frog if you'd like to bless someone today. And again, just a huge statement of gratitude from the family for being here today. This means the world. It means the world, so thank you. And we hope you've been blessed by being here and being a part of this celebration of our beautiful Sharney. So, enjoy, great food, great friends. Oh, have I missed something, Anne?
Our idea is that we get probably a third of the chairs outside, and then chairs that are in, we can try and move them around so that you can talk to each other. It will take a little time to do that, but we just want everybody to share and mingle. Thank you for coming.
This is Anne, who owns this place and runs Tony. Thank you, Anne. I'm not sure many of us would invite this many people into our lounge room. Enjoy.
If I'm up or if I'm down.
Was called yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. And you know I love you so. You know I love you so. Swam across, I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line, I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn into something beautiful. And you know, for you I bleed myself dry. For you I bleed myself dry. It's true. Look how they shine for you. Look and all the things that you do. Days will come when you don't have the strength, when all you hear is you're not worth anything, wondering if you ever could be loved, and if they truly saw your heart they'd see too much. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. You are made for so much more than all of this. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. You are treasured, you are sacred, you are His. You're beautiful. You were meant for so much more than all of this. to say impossible, but they forgot. This world keeps spinning with each new day. I can feel a change in everything, and as the surface breaks, reflections fade, but in some ways they remain the same. And as my mind begins to spread its wings, there's no stop curiosity. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. I'll find the things they say just can't be. I'll share this love I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's songs. I don't want this feeling to go away. Who's to say I can't do everything, well I can try. And as I roll along I begin to find things aren't always just what they seem. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. I'll find the things they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I'll find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. This world keeps spinning and there's no time to waste. Well, it all keeps spinning, spinning round and round and upside down. Who's to say what's impossible can't be found? I don't want this feeling to go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Is this how it's supposed to be? Is this how it's supposed to be? I took the supermarket flyers from the windowsill, threw the day old tea from the cup, packed up the photo album Matthew had made, memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals, poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down, but Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up, but I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mum. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, He'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up, folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did. 'Cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, you'll say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, He said hallelujah, you're home.
Your father said, let there be light. You obeyed when he whispered, son, you have to leave tonight. To spend 9 months in a mother's womb, 3 days in a borrowed tomb. But it's the time in between that brings me to my take much for this crazy world to rob me of my peace. And the enemy of my soul says you're holding out on me. So I stand here lifting empty hands for you to fill me up again. But it's the time in between that I fall down to my knees, waiting on what you'll bring, and the things that I can't see. I know
believe you let me down, but the proof's in the way it hurts. For months on end I've had my doubts, denying every tear. I wish this would be over now, but I know that I still need you here. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. You've been so unrelatable. Now sadly I know why. Your heart is unobtainable, even though God knows that mine. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what it is. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. I have loved you for many years. Maybe I am just not enough. You made me realize my deepest fear by lying and tearing us up. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. And I know, 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 and I know. I know I'm not the only one. I'm sure it was nothing, but you never used to bring somebody else along. It used to be our thing, going to a movie, then we wander home. All these little landmines, all these little things that one can make two ways. Like when you take every call outside, seems that I've forgotten how to read your face. But I know you too well to get it wrong. To hurt me once, if you have to end it, get it done. You have all these choices, I have none. You're all that I have to lose. Couldn't hurt you if I wanted to. I've decided on you. If you keep it going, then one by one the memories will start to blur. You'll ruin the good ones, but I guess my photo album's none of your concern. Don't humor me with kindness. There's nothing kind about 100 small betrayals. If you love me at all, you'll kill it now. If you have to hurt me once. If you have to end it, get it done. You have all these choices, I have none. You're all that I have to lose. Couldn't hurt you if I wanted to. I've decided on you. I've decided on you. And if I'm disappointed, it's 'cause you're not the person I knew. If I had it my way, I'd be kinder than you. I'm sure I'll forgive you, and soon. I'm ashamed, but I'm proud of it too. I decided on you. This world from me, I don't need it anymore. I am finally free. My heart is spoken for. Oh, and I praise you. And I worship you, covered by a love divine, child of the risen Lord. To hear you sing, this one's mine. My heart is spoken for. I have peace that I've never known before. I find myself complete. My heart is spoken for.